Hi everyone. Today we're going to be looking at an accordion style functionality in an in-text form. Now I recently got asked a question on how to do this, and if you've seen forms or online forms, electronic forms in the past, this sort of functionality is actually pretty nifty. It really makes for a nice user experience. The users don't get swamped with a whole bunch of, like a massive form they have to fill in. So it's pretty cool to have this. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when it comes to accordion style. You can see I have 4 sections here. They're all buttons. Now, if I click on them, it expands that particular section. If I click on section 2, it expands that section and closes off the top one. So this sort of scenario is like an accordion, kind of opens and closes each of the different sections depending on what you want to, what section you want to fill in. Now, that's pretty cool. You can do that, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But one of the other things you can do is, let's close this one out, and we'll go into our form. We'll make a small modification, publish that form, and then we'll try it out again. All I did was actually modify one variable in some JavaScript, and hopefully we'll get a slightly different functionality. What this will hopefully do is allow you to actually open up multiple sections rather than just one at a time, and that can be pretty handy as well. Okay, now that it's published, let's go back, open up this this form, and we'll open up section 1, and then you open up section 2, and you can see I can open all the sections up that I want to. And it makes for, again, really depends on what sort of functionality you require, if you want to allow multiple sections to open or not. But this is pretty cool that you can do that. So now let's have a look at the actual design of the form. It'd be a lot easier if you actually downloaded the form, imported it into a list, and actually had a look at all the functionality behind it while we're going through this now. First of all, you see each one of these is just a regular button. If I double click on it, it's actually been set to a JavaScript button, and we have a client click JavaScript function. So each one of these buttons will have their own JavaScript function that it will call. So in this case, we've got function section 1 click, the next one will be section 2 click, etc. That's the first part. The next part is each one of these that you see with a black border around them is a panel, and inside that there's a whole bunch of actions, and this is a bunch of controls. This makes it easier for you to actually build out rules and things like that to do the whole panel rather than individual controls. Next thing we have is right down the bottom here, we have some checkboxes. Now, I'll open up one, and you'll see this one's called My Checkbox Section 1. The next one is called My Checkbox Section 2. Each one of these relates to one of these panels or one of these sections. And what we're doing with these is that when you have a form, you can actually add a rule to, let's say, this panel, and you can see this is the rule we're going to look at. And the condition we have is that my checkbox section 1 is equal to 0, and if it is, that just basically means this checkbox here is not checked. We're going to hide this panel. Now, the reason we have this is because right now there's no like toggle button in NintexForms, so you can't have a button click cause hiding and showing of a particular panel on the form. So what we do is we actually control that by these checkboxes, because you can do it with a checkbox. So if you check this particular box, it's going to run this rule, and it's going to make this panel hide or show. And we have one for each of these panels. You can see all these checkboxes here. The other rule that we have is called hide checkbox rules, because what we want to do is we actually want to hide these checkboxes. We don't really want to see them. We want to give people the ability to hide and show these sections using the buttons instead of checkboxes, just to kind of give the users the experience that they're after in regards to what they're used to with accordion style functionality on a form. So we'll hide all these. Remember, when you're actually hiding them, you want to hide them with a rule. You don't actually want to go into here, go into appearance and hide them, like turn the visibility to no. That actually removes that control from the form completely, so you won't be able to use it in the rules at all. So we have all these 5 rules, one to hide all these checkboxes, and then the rest to control the hiding and showing of these panels. Now we have the next bit we want to do, which is we want to somehow link this button click to this checkbox. This is where some JavaScript needs to come into play. So we'll jump into the form settings. We'll jump into the JavaScript, scroll down a little bit, and we have a function called fn show section, and it takes a number variable, which is, or parameter, which is called iSection. Now all this is doing is saying, if we only allow one visible section, then we want to make sure that we turn off the other panel and then turn on the new panel. What we're doing is actually finding the particular checkbox, those checkboxes that you saw at the bottom of the screen, or at the bottom of the form down here. We're finding the appropriate checkbox, finding the input control, and then we're running the click function. So we're basically simulating a click on that checkbox. And then we're just making sure that if there's a previous section already open, then we're going to click on that section, that button also, or that checkbox, and make sure that that one's hidden. If we allow multiple sections to be open, then all we're simply doing is just finding the appropriate checkbox, setting the click function, and it will hide or show depending on what state we're currently in. Then we have the functions that I mentioned before, how each button click has a function like this fn section 1 click, section 2 click, and all it's doing is calling this fn show section function, passing in which section we're dealing with. And that fn show section is up here, is that one. So feel free to play around with this. Like I showed at the very beginning of this video, there's a variable at the top that says only one section visible. Set that to true if you want to have true accordion style functionality where only one section is visible. Publish it out and you'll be able to test this out. There's nothing special in this particular form in that it doesn't link to any other list, so you should be able to just create yourself a custom list in SharePoint, click on Nintex Forms, bring that up, and then import this form, publish it, and it should work fine. Okay, now this is published. Let's just double check. Close this off. Go to the new form. And you can see we allow only one section open at a time. Hopefully this helps you out and gives you an idea of some of the extra functionality you can add just with a little bit of work. If you want the accordion style functionality, it probably will only take you a few minutes to actually add it to your form, and then just nicely align the controls as you need it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them at the end of this blog post. I'd be happy to hear them. Or if you have some other ideas or questions about how to do something in Nintex Forms, I'd be happy to look into those as well. Thanks for your time.